Hello, this is the second sermon. My name's Jared. Let's get into it. The flesh is our five senses: hearing, smell, sight, taste, and touch. Now, if you admit or repent, you are basically saying you sin. But we are not free then if we are sinning. Like AI in video games, they follow their code, which they also use their flesh for their objective. The bots have vision, which if they use their vision and they see you, they'll try to kill you. They also use hearing in the game as a tool for the objective to kill you. In a video game, a shooter in a war video game. Now, if humans, we see food, we eat, but our flesh, our soul, can bypass the flesh on whether we actually eat it, and depending on the society, if we have to pay for it, if it's ours, healthy, are we hungry, we have intelligence that bypasses our flesh, unlike AI right now, which makes us more free. Now, a dog has more intelligence than AI as it's trained. An AI in a video game would just eat food for house points, but a dog will trust the master, it will wait for the command to eat, and that is real intelligence that what I would say as all the animals out there would likely have the most soul. Now, a dog has a stronger sense of smells than humans. The balance between intelligence and our stronger senses would be the difficulty in maintaining our flesh and being free. Now, the flesh is kind of like separate from us. It's not our fault if we do sin from the flesh. Basically, you're admitting you're human. As in the world today, we're focused so much on these sins, but it's not really our fault. The example of smoking. There is medicine today that can help people quit, but if someone wants to quit and they can't because of their flesh gives the chemicals in the body, but if they want to go to heaven so they can stop smoking, which might be the only way for them, and they accept that, that's okay. Because sin is practice. James 2:10, if you do one sin, you're as guilty as if you did all sins, because it's practice. Rarely would you see someone do it one time for their whole lives. It is practice. Most people's problems with sin is practice. That's why they say, even though they say not to sin, even though we're saved from the gospel. Part of why Jesus Christ died on the cross is because of what he figured in heaven. We get a glorified new body, which means we get a different flesh, which makes us more free. Without constraint from the flesh, the urge to sin from the flesh is reduced, and we will be more free from the flesh to live. Now, in heaven, there will not be any chemicals that cause addiction from smoking, but there will also be no body damage. You will be free to smoke, and you'll be free to quit anytime in heaven. The flesh is basically the chemicals and the addictions which causes happiness. We have to commit these things, do these things, which creates happiness. But we're not free because just eating, we have to work just to stay warm. And we do sin, and some people do sin for happiness from the body. And it's more of a flesh that takes over the body than the soul. They're happy, but they're not free. Just that the things they have to do, with the exception of work, is not really bad. It's just they got, no, it's invisible. They have to do it. If you want to be free, you go to heaven. If you want to be happy, commit the sins and follow the people in hell with them. Poor people that are suffering from the flesh and want it to end will more likely want to go to heaven just to end the suffering. But the rich people that are satisfied from the flesh, they are happy from the flesh. They're likely want to continue. They're less likely to give it up, and they would likely go to hell if they have a flesh where they can sin to keep the happiness. The real sinners. Another example of where we get what heaven is water. We'll never thirst. We'll be free to drink in heaven, but we'll never over or under consume water as the body needs, because water is pure, and it's what we need. It does not create the flesh to want more. But maybe we have to live a life on earth first for the flesh, so that we experience these things like water, food, so that when we go to heaven, we can continue to enjoy these things without the constraint of being forced to eat, to do these things, and we'll do it when we want, as free as we want, an appreciation of what we're going through. Basically, the flesh is separate from the soul. The sins that the good men at the time were doing were from the flesh. But you realize that in heaven, a reduced flesh would cause these people not to commit these sins. And as good people, we do not steal, we do not murder, we do not commit these things. So they recognize that there is good in us, but we who accept a different body in heaven to not do these sins of the flesh will accept it, and those who let the body produce happiness by letting the body control them will likely end up in hell. And that's if conditions allow them, as what on earth being rich will do. Thank you.